welcome back to Phillips on the Farm. Today I'm doing a video on how to mix and cure bacon, ham hocks, ham jowls, whole hams. You can use this same recipe for deer, venison, or pork, or beef bacon for that matter, if you were going to do beef bacon, something along those lines. So what I use is from a company called PS Seasonings. This is their Sweeter Than Sweet Cure. I buy it in a 25-pound box. The ingredients say salt, sugar, brown sugar, sodium nitrite, 0.84%, and maple syrup. You'd think Sweeter Than Sweet Cure would come out to be pretty sweet, but it's not. It does give it a good bit of a brown sugar flavor, which I really like. I used a different one before from PS Seasonings, and the kids didn't like it as well. So this is what we've gone to, and they've all been happy with it for years now. I love the ham hocks when they come out with this flavor. They're perfect for beans. They're just salty enough. The hams are really good. The only difference between any of this is if I'm doing hams or large muscle groups, like when I've done some venison bacon, I'll take some of the roast out of the hind quarter of venison, and because they're a thicker piece of muscle, I will inject them. The hams also get injected. What I've got is an injection needle I bought offline, probably off of Amazon somewhere. Comes apart into a cylinder and a plunger, and you take them apart to wash them good. And then I've got a couple of different injection needles. I think you can see in that one, this one's got holes that run up the shaft. The other one has just got one hole at the end. It's just like a regular hypodermic needle. I don't use it much. I prefer to use this one if I'm going to be injecting hams. I think it disperses the injection material through the muscle better. And so the recipe calls, if you're injecting hams, to inject 10% by weight of injection solution into the hams. So if you had a 10-pound ham, you would inject 1 pound of the brine mixture into the muscle, making special attention to injecting it close to the bone. The rest of it will soak in a bucket mixed with the brine solution for 3 to 4 days, depending on how salty you like it. I usually do the bacon and the ham hocks, jowls, smaller pieces of venison, for 2.5 or 3 days. And then the big muscle groups, the bigger hams, venison hams, the hindquarters, anything like that that are injected, I'll do 3.5 to 4 days, depending on size. If they're smaller, like venison, might only get 3 days or 3.5, and a bigger ham will get closer to 4 days. After everything comes out of the brine solution, I will drain the brine, and then I will rinse the material in cold water and let it soak, generally overnight, at least 8 hours, in clean cold water to kind of equilibrate the mixture. I found if I don't do that, it comes out a little saltier than I like. So whatever the recommended time is, 3 days, 4 days, for whichever cuts you're using, and then at least 8 hours in cold water. Then I drain that off, pat everything dry, and it's ready to go in the smoker. Whole different process we're not going to get into today as far as smoking goes. So I did want to share with you how I mix the brine. I've got 4 pork bellies that I'm going to put in the brine mixture, soak them for 3 days, take them out, and then I'll have them ready for the smoker. But this is mostly just a brine mixture episode today. What I've got here is a scale and a stainless steel bowl. I put the bowl on the scale, if you can see that, and I zero it out. Once I zero it out, the recipe, for this one I'm doing a half recipe, so I need 3.5 pounds of the brine mixture. You can see it looks like salt and sugar, just like the ingredients called. So I'll put 3.5 pounds into the stainless steel container. You could use a plastic bowl, whichever you've got. You could also mix this straight in the 5-gallon bucket, but I'll show you here in a second what I do with that. Oh, a little too much. Almost. There we go. 3.5 pounds of the brine mixture. What I've got here is 2 gallons of water already measured out into a clean 5-gallon bucket. I use only plastic for soaking my meat in the brine. If you use metal, I have read that it will give you an off taste, kind of a metallic taste to your meat, because the salt will interact with the metal. This is not so bad for just a second while I'm weighing it out. But I went ahead and measured out 2 gallons for 3.5 pounds. If I'm doing a full batch, if I'm going to do a whole pig, I will do 7 pounds and 4 gallons. That will fill up. Once I get the meat in the buckets, it usually takes at least 2 buckets and sometimes 3, depending on the size of the pig. That full 7-pound mixture will fill up those 3 buckets with the meat. So you could measure the brine mixture in the 5-gallon bucket and then add your water. For the video, I just brought it out and put it straight, put the water in the bucket so we didn't have to mess with that in a minute for the video. Let's see. All right, add all of that. Wooden spoon. I don't use a metal spoon. Yet again, I've read that it'll leave a metallic taste. So just got a cheap Walmart wooden spoon. This is nearly a supersaturated solution, meaning that there's only so much salt can be dissolved in a given amount of water. And this is right on the verge of not dissolving all of it. So you've got to stir it up pretty good to get it all dissolved. So I usually stir this for a minute or so that there's not unmixed solution or unmixed dry mix in the bottom of it, in the bottom of the bucket. Let's see. Woo. Camera work. Gotta love it. Brine mixture. Pretty exciting. All right. So, easy peasy so far. Now all I'm going to do is I've got 4 pork bellies that are already trimmed, kind of squared up. I leave them mostly rolled up, and I'll slide them down in this mixture. Pork belly. Looks like bacon. Looks a lot like bacon. A few days, it will absolutely be bacon. fat floats. So sometimes to get all this in there, what you have to do is weigh it down with like a clean ceramic plate, dinner plate that will fit in this bucket to hold the ham down into the brine solution. Then I cover it with the 5-gallon bucket lid, and I'll put it over in the corner of the cooler, make a note on my phone when it goes in, with alarm to go off on the day it needs to come out. Then I'll take this off, leave the lid on, crack it open just a little bit, drain it off into my drain outside, fill it back up with water, put it back in the cooler, and it's ready to go to the smoker. So Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So Sunday, I will take these out of the brine solution and put them in some water, and Monday they will go in the smoker. That may be its very own video later. We'll see. I think I've done my venison video. I will attach a link in the video description below. And I think I've shown some of the smoking process for that. If not, I'll get it for this one. Won't be in this video, but it will be a second part to this. This is my pork bellies. So they cured for 3 days, smoked or set in fresh water overnight, were rinsed off, put in the smoker probably 10 hours, and ended up with 4 good-looking pork bellies that I'm about to cut into bacon. I'm going to run them through my Cabela's commercial grade slicer. I've been disappointed with this slicer. If I had to give it a grade, it would be a C. I spent about $400 on it on the commercial grade slicer. It's pretty difficult to take apart and clean up, and it also it doesn't slice at the very bottom very well, and so my bacon ends up being kind of torn at the bottom edge rather than cut, or it sticks together and I have to slice it by hand. So I've been pretty disappointed for the money I spent in this. That'll probably be one of the next upgrades, is to get me a better slicer, get me a real commercial slicer, and something that'll cut all my bacon up. That's about all I cut. I could probably, I don't know, maybe some roast beef or something like that might be in order at some point in time. But really, all it does is slice bacon. That's 99% of what it's used for. So maybe as I get into a little more smoking meats, that I will use it for a few other things that come out of the smoker too. It's a possibility. I've wanted to do either some salami or some bologna or something like that, and so it might see some use for some of those projects too. So those are all in the future one of these days. It's a cold, dreary day out today. We got a couple inches of snow this morning, and they've already pretty much melted off. Cold front moved through, and now it's about 35 degrees outside, and here we are with the snow all that was here this morning is already pretty much gone. So be a good time to get this bacon sliced up, froze, put in the freezer. I've got about 25 pounds, I think, out of those 4 pork bellies, somewhere in that neighborhood. Somewhere between 20 and 30 pounds anyway. So I'm going to get that sliced up. I usually slice it at around 1/8 to 3/16 of an inch thick, pretty thick sliced bacon. I'm going to slice most of this thinner. My wife prefers it that way, and so do the kids. So I'm going to slice this one pretty thin and get it all bagged up in the vacuum seal bags and put in the freezer. So that's the plan. Appreciate y'all stopping by as I finish up this video. Phillips on the Farm YouTube channel. If you've got a minute, please subscribe to the channel. That really helps. Share it with others. Hit the bell icon and you'll get notifications when I post these videos. I posted a few out in the last few days, so hopefully we can keep those coming. Phillips on the Farm Instagram page, Phillips on the Farm YouTube channel that I mentioned, Phillips on the Farm Instagram, phillipsonthefarm@gmail.com is my email address. If you got any questions or ideas for videos or anything else that you might have that you want to share with me. I've gotten a few emails from some friends, and I appreciate that. So Jump on board. We'll be seeing you again real soon here on the farm. God bless.